All right, great. Yeah.
Yeah, we can
So
see
I'm
it.
going to talk about the songs that I do in a big global warming class that I teach. That actually starts tomorrow. Our quarter is just about to begin, and going to kick it off with one of the songs that I do, the first one that I do, and it teaches this key concept for climate called albedo. It's a term that's really, really important for climate because it describes what fraction of light is reflected away. So just to kind of teach y'all this concept, dark things have a low albedo, so they warm the climate. They cause a lot of sunlight to be absorbed, which warms the earth. White things, on the other hand, reflect a lot of light, cool the climate. That's things like snow, ice, and clouds. So this is why we have the ice albedo feedback, which is where when ice and snow melt, it causes more warming. It's also why tennis players wear white. So anyway, I'm going to sing all this just to start off. Sheets of ice and snow pack, they reflect radiation back. Where there is ice, albedo. Tiny droplets in the sky, cirrus stratus way up high. Where there is cloud, albedo. Albedo, albedo. Where there is white, albedo. Albedo to reflect you in a world so warm and bright. I'm so glad you bounced that light. Where there is white, albedo. And if your city skies are never blue, air pollution all surrounding you, scattering light, think albedo, because at least that haze is keeping you a little cooler. Albedo, albedo. Where there is white, albedo. All right, all right. Yeah, so play those on my mandolin. Thanks to Nick for flipping the slides there for me. Yeah, so let me tell y'all a little bit about the class. ATM S 111, Global Warming, is a big survey course where we teach the science, impacts, and solutions to climate change. And there are a couple of specific challenges. A lot of these songs are really, really specifically for this class, right? So one of the challenges is that it's a 240-person class, right? I'm not necessarily the most engaging lecturer, so anything that I can do to kind of get that huge classroom engaged, I try to do, mostly non-science majors. And then another thing is it's a 2-hour lecture period, right? We teach from 11:30 to 1:30, right? So right over lunchtime. So also just thinking about getting people engaged, getting people to pay attention through that whole time period is important to me. So I end up now, we've built up a repertoire over quite a long time. So now we do a song a day about the science of that day, right? Sometimes even two. Not all written by me, as you'll see. Yeah, almost all of these are parodies, many to classic rock songs, just like that last one was Jackson 5, I'll Be There. My songwriting is very much in the John school, not the Paul school, as I'm sure you can tell from that. I try to just get kind of the essence of the song and don't worry too much about it fitting exactly, you know. My only rule to science songwriting is that the lyrics have to be scientifically accurate. And that's what I judge the students on as well when I let them write songs. Just another example related to albedo of some of the other songs that we do is the idea that we can change albedo. So heat waves hit cities hard. So white roofs or vegetated roofs are ways of dealing with this. And people also have talked about things like changing the albedo of the entire planet. That's called geoengineering. So just a couple of examples of that. Paint it white to the Rolling Stones, paint it black. I see a dark roof and I want to paint it white. No light trapped anymore, I want it to be bright. We know that climate changes are making our cities hot. We've got to get that heat out any way we got. And then the man who cooled the world. This is to the David Bowie, man who sold the world, that I learned from Nirvana Unplugged. And this is a song in particular that relates a little bit to what was talked about in the first session. I find that the global warming class is very heavy material, especially in the middle of the quarter, when we're talking about impacts on things like nature, where it feels like it's going to be severe and we don't have too much control over that. So I find that singing really lightens the mood on those days. And I think this is part of the history of music that you know, when you have a problem, you sing about it, right? When you have a broken heart, when you have the blues, right? Then singing blues songs is the way to deal with that, right? So I should have included the second verse to this song, which does more of that style of things. This is more just the scientific concepts. He flew up in the sky, plane full of sulfur dioxide, shot out like a torpedo to change the Earth's albedo. The sulfur is oxidized to offset temperature rise, a whole earth parasol in a stream of aerosol. But the second verse especially is dealing with kind of the emotional weight of, should we be making decisions like changing the temperature of the whole planet to offset global warming? So really, I think sometimes the songs are more about engaging with the students' emotions and getting them a little bit of time to reflect through a song via listening, right? One other example from the Joni Mitchell Cloud song, Both Sides Now. Stratocumuli are bright, high albedo colored white, the cooling from the scattered light. I've looked at clouds that way. I was very nervous to bring songs into an academic setting. I kind of hid this for a while, hid this interest for a while. But one thing that gave me confidence to do it in my class is that two of the most respected faculty in our department are science songwriters. Mike Wallace and Dennis Hartman, they're both in the National Academy of Sciences and are just a constant stream of goofy lyrics about atmospheric science. The setting for that often is our departmental winter social. So we'll sing Christmas songs about, like Let It Snow with the meteorological conditions that are necessary for snow in Seattle, for instance. This was sort of an early source for the repertoire for the class. So I think for me, that was having those role models that are successful and, are doing the same thing, are doing this kind of science songwriting. That gave me confidence to bring it to my own class. And I think also the research that's being done showing that this is so educationally effective is also super, super important for giving people confidence. So I appreciate that aspect. So I sing several songs from them in each class. And actually the title of the presentation, The Climate Is a-Changin', is based on a song that Mike wrote. Come gather around people wherever you roam, admit that the global sea level has grown, accept it that soon we'll be drenched to the bone. If the world to you is worth saving, you better start swimming or you'll sink like a stone, for the climate it is a-changin'. And Mike is great at this Paul type songwriting where he really sticks to the original text exactly, and fits in every syllable perfectly. He, for instance, has written the entire South Pacific musical with a climate change focus. And then with Dennis, Dennis leads our little band, so we end up co-writing quite a bit, and that's pretty fun too. I find myself getting stuck on songs quite a bit, so being able to share it with a colleague and have them fill in some lyrics for me helps a lot. So this one is Ocean Acidification to the tune of the Red Hot Chili Peppers' Californication. Oysters unborn, coral reefs forlorn, ocean acidification. And student-written songs are also something that I do. I've always offered extra credit for students to write songs. And the only thing that I judge them on are the scientific accuracy and depth that goes into the songs. But I really like the other ideas that were brought up about ways to evaluate student songs. In the past, very few took me up on that offer. It was only kind of a certain type of student who's creative, the songwriting type, who just wanted to participate. So oftentimes those were folks that didn't really need the extra credit. So for instance, this Catch Long Waves song is really fantastic. I find that these student submissions are just outstanding. It's a kind of surf rock song that is about the greenhouse effect and long wave radiation getting trapped by greenhouse gases. Someday is going to be a great day is the Phineas and Ferb TV show theme song, which was not a cartoon that I was aware of, but is like perfect for the audience of that class because it's a show that they grew up with. So that one was just an absolute smash, talking about solutions to climate change. The Catch Longwave song, we made a music video out of too. So we did a little recording. And Nick, the guy who was flipping the slides, was the vocalist for that. So I'd encourage y'all to check that out on the UW Atmos Outreach YouTube channel. Then last year, this is sort of funny. Last year, our first test was very difficult. So a lot of students did really bad and felt like they needed extra credit. So last year we got 25 song submissions, and some of those are really great too. So it made me think that, maybe it is okay to twist people's arms a little bit to get good songwriting content from students. A couple of these are going in the repertoire for sure. This Ice Melt song, to I'm Yours. The chorus to that is Won't Be Crystalline No More at 0C, Ice Melts. And then Eye of the Cyclone to Eye of the Tiger are both pretty fantastic examples. I think, let's see, there was one other thing that I wanted to say. I think if I can't immediately remember, I think I'll just end it there, and we can pick up more stuff with questions. So thanks for having me. I'm really enjoying this conference.
Thank you so much, Dargan. That was fun. Rick, you look like you're ready to go. So go ahead and share your screen with us.